You know what, Sean? If we don't start picking winners, guess what?
What's going on?
We're gonna end up like this guy.
Yeah, we might be close to that. Matter of fact, I think I was like that at the TV yesterday.
That's what we're going to be like, Sean, if we don't start picking some winners. We're going to be living down in a van by the river and divorced.
Yeah, it's bad. Keep looking at that calendar for football, at least for me.
You know what? It starts tonight, my friend.
Yeah, you did the ultimate yesterday, though. You say about that stupid soccer tie. You could have went with a stupid soccer tie parlay and got paid handsomely.
Probably would be rich now. Yeah. I could probably buy the river if I did that. Yeah, yesterday was one of those days where you just felt it coming, right? From the minute the pick started to play, I texted you right away, and I'm like, Mize doesn't have any velocity. He's going to get hit hard. And what happened? He got hit hard. And then to make matters worse, I don't know if you saw this, but you just know it's not your day win. Did you see how the Cubs actually ended up winning that game?
No, I didn't. I saw they went up 3-2, and Colorado never came back.
So they had I think it was a 2-2 account with 2 outs, bases loaded, and the kid was up. I think his name is Wilson. Hit a ball out to the outfield to the left field. The left fielder ran, jumped, and caught it. He had it in his glove. Hit the wall, came down, and when he hit the ground, the ball came out. They didn't count it as an out. So much like the NFL, I guess the baseball has to start to define what a catch is.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that. When will we see that rule change now?
He literally had it in his glove, I think, for a second and a half before it fell out. The glove was completely closed around the ball and didn't come out until he hit the ground. And I'm thinking, you know what? If you lose, and that would have been a third out, and they wouldn't have scored any, they would have won 2-0. If you lose when a guy drops the ball, it's just one of those days where you just get punched in the face and your hands are tied behind your back and there's nothing you can do about it except bleed and hope that you can come back the next day.
Yeah. So my day actually didn't start off bad. Baltimore scored 2 runs in the first, and then they were up 3-0. And they were my highest price one. And then the Yankees tied it. And then I had another parlay where I already had 2 right. I would have just needed which Colorado lost anyway, but I needed under 9.5. So the Yankees were threatening. It was 3-3, and I kind of had one play like you. The Yankees hit it to the outfield in between the infielder and the outfielder, basically, and everybody's pointing up, and the ball's up there forever, and they couldn't catch it, and the Yankees score 3 runs, and there goes my under. And there goes Baltimore, because you knew at that point they weren't coming back, too. So, And that was at the point where everything else was going wrong, so that was like one of my last hopes, and after that, it was over.
Yeah, I felt like, I don't know if you've ever seen those commercials where the person is like, they have car problems and they get out of the car and they open the door and like the whole car falls apart. I felt like I opened up the door and the whole car fell apart. And unfortunately, thankfully we're up today. We're at it again. And hopefully we can get back on the right side of things. And there's a new way to get back on the right side of things. Sean, are you ready for some football?
Yeah, definitely. Preseason, though, it's so hard to, especially this game. Nobody's going to play.
Cowboys and Steelers in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, nobody's going to play at all. So actually, the only thing that would intrigue me, and I'm not going to bet it, would be the under. It's at 32. I know it's low, but preseason, you're looking at 3rd and 4th string guys. They'll run their clock. You're not going to get where they're trying to score all these points. So,
well, I'm looking at this game. A couple of things I've read today that make me think if I were going to bet this game, it's actually as low as 31.5, as high as 32.5. I read a couple of things that make me actually feel like Pittsburgh is probably going to win this game and maybe handily. First and foremost, the Cowboys didn't send about 16 players, most of whom will be starters on opening day. But a lot of Pittsburgh's potential offensive line are youngsters. So I wouldn't be surprised, like the center that they drafted, I think with their I don't know, it was a 3rd round pick. The center might play a lot of the game. One of their tackles that they drafted, I think a year or 2 ago, that might or is in consideration for a starting spot. I wouldn't be surprised, if they play a lot of time and, if they have a cohesive offensive unit out there on the line for a half of the game. game, that could be a big enough advantage for Pittsburgh to get over that 2.5 point spread. Plus, in addition to the Cowboys not sending 16 players, they're going to go right back home. I guess they're going to practice tomorrow. I'm unsure about that. But then they're going to start one of those week practices with the Los Angeles Rams. And they want to make sure that everybody's healthy for that practice. So they're putting more emphasis on the practice with the Rams than they are on the Hall of Fame game. That tells me that the Cowboys, whatever players they got, are going to be out early. And you're going to see Cooper Rush and then some quarterbacks you probably never even heard of before for the Cowboys. And I wouldn't expect much from them on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that's why I think the under would be intriguing here. And if I was doing better, I might bet it, because I tell you what, that boring preseason game that you're going to listen, that boring preseason game, you put money. Why do we bet? You put money on this game, it will be entertaining for you, but I can't do it with this one.
I don't know. Even with money on the game, sometimes it's not entertaining. The
and
only thing is this suspense, am I going to get paid or not?
Dallas is on Hard Knocks this year too. I don't know when it starts, but that will be definitely interesting, and definitely checking that out.
I don't know how many characters they have on their team, though. It's not like they have a Hollywood Henderson or a Jameis Winston. I don't know. Did you see that video? Speaking of Jameis Winston trying to run through the tackle, like one of those mechanical tackle machines.
No, I missed this.
Oh, you got to see Jameis. I'll try to find it for tomorrow's show, but it's like they have like these two swinging doors, like an old saloon that you would see in a like a cowboy Western movie. But they're thick with padding on him. And so he's handing the ball off the running backs, and the running backs are just blasting through these two gates, right? And then he takes a step back when all the running backs are done, and he tries to run through it, and he hits it, and he gets stuck, and he twists, and he turns, and he almost falls out coming out of it. It's really kind of funny. I mean, Jameis being Jameis, you got to absolutely love it. I think he's my favorite personality in football, hands down.
Yeah. We'll see if he gets that starting job or not, and what he does with it.
Yeah, I think he's got a good crack at it. We'll find out for sure. So, all right. So you're going to do anything in the NFL tonight?
You know what? We'll go back to that. If I can't find many more in baseball, I might take the under, because I do feel good about the under, probably as good as I feel about any baseball game.
I don't know. Preseason football, that's 1-800 need help. That's for sure.
Well,
yeah, well, you never know. I mean, it might be the right way to go tonight. Yeah. Let's talk about some baseball tonight, because we have I got a few baseball games that are not going yet. First up on the board is the Seattle Mariners versus the New York Yankees. It's another night of big lines and negative run lines. I'm not so sure that I can back much tonight. I think I have one play. So looking at this first game, the Yankees are collecting 70 cents on the dollar. It means that the Mariners are getting 30 cents. The total tickets is pretty similar. And I think you got lefty versus lefty here, and both teams are okay against lefties. Seattle actually has a winning record. Maybe Seattle plus 175 is a place to go.
Yeah, I'm not making that an official bet, but that's definitely intriguing and a good price for Seattle. We talk about all the time. They win when they're not supposed to. So, and they do good against lefties. The Yankees are one game over 500 against lefties, but they've struggled against lefties hitting wise for a few years now. They really haven't addressed that. So,
well, if you want the Yankees, if you want Seattle to win, just have me. Like, if anyone out there wants the Seattle to cover, just send me a few bucks to my PayPal account. I'll go ahead and take the Yankees. And anytime I go against Seattle, they almost always win. So if you're interested in Seattle winning, just hit me up on PayPal. I'll go ahead and take the Yankees. But I'm not going to do it officially. They do have a huge run line differential advantage compared to Seattle, what they score on the road, and a sizable power ranking, home versus away team. I just, at the number that they're at, minus 210 for the Yankees, can't take them. And for the number, well, it's actually down to about minus 200 now, but still can't take it there. And the run line is negative. 2 negatives for me does not equal a positive. So I'll move on to Cleveland versus Toronto, where once again, we have 2 negatives that don't add up to a positive.
Yeah. And I can't do it here. I don't trust Toronto, but Toronto should score enough runs and probably will cover the 1.5. But the negative line, I don't see that much of a disparity, to trust Toronto here.
Well, Toronto does have a sizable run line advantage. If I were going to play this game, I probably would take Toronto and run line them, but I'm going to get I think the number's like negative 125 or something ridiculous. Let's look real quick.
I had negative 110 on DraftKings.
Negative 110, even still negative 110 is way too negative for me. It's one of my cardinal rules. I'm not going to break it today, not for Toronto, not just for the sake of doing something, because I sort of did that with Detroit yesterday and regretted it immediately afterwards. So, it's I don't know. I won't go into those late night stories. Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, another game where the home team should roll. Pittsburgh's not that good on the road. Cincinnati is one of the highest scoring teams at home. They're playing for a playoff spot. Pittsburgh is playing for a draft order position. But I can't back a team that's minus 232 at home or minus 230. And I think this one is like minus 125 run line.
Yeah, and Sonny Gray hasn't been that great this year.
No, he's not.
Also, Cincinnati's bullpen is horrible. So, they can be up 4-0 and we can feel good about giving up the run and a half, and then they blow it and either lose the game or win the game 4-3. So I'm not trusting a team like Cincinnati giving up a run and a half with the negative run line as well.
And that bullpen, Hembry, boy, that guy's horrible. I mean, he was horrible for me. He may not be horrible for others, but for me, he was terrible.
Hey, he has a high ERA for a guy who's supposed to come in and close
1,
the
2,
game.
3, you're out like Bugs Bunny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Well, to me, I think that maybe one of the things you could do tonight, maybe catch a plus line, is stick together the Yankees, Toronto, and Cincinnati. I think they're all very high probability wins. I don't know if that combines to a plus line or not, Sean. Maybe you could take a quick look at that in your account and see what it might work out to be, because that's about the only thing that I would feel. I actually would feel more comfortable with 3 teams winning than the one I got picked later on.
Seattle, Toronto, and Yankees?
No, the Yankees, Toronto, and Cincinnati.
Yep, so that's the same thing. Plus 216.
Well, maybe it's worth it. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to put $10 on that as an official play. Not a whole lot, but you know what? I'll make $12.50 on it as official play.
Okay.
And then the White Sox versus the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City kind of roughed them up a little bit on the south side of Chicago last night. You got lefty versus lefty, and as I told you last time, Dallas Keuchel is not as good a pitcher as people think he is. He's way down the list when you look at some of these expanded metrics. He'll get hit tonight again, I think.
Yeah, this is actually one yesterday you said about adding the White Sox to a parlay, and I was like, Kansas City the way, and maybe I should have, when we talk things out, maybe at that point I should have said, I'm taking Kansas City, and I'm not doing it tonight, but this is another one I wouldn't bet Chicago. You could definitely see Kansas City win this game.
Well, maybe, I don't know what I think is total, like 8.5, 9 runs, something like that.
9.5.
9.5. I could see it being a high-scoring game because, like I said, Keuchel is not that good of a pitcher. It is warm and humid again in Chicago, and U.S. Cellular Park is actually a home run hitter's park, especially when it's hot and humid out. I wouldn't be surprised to see some home runs in that game. I don't know what a home run is for, like, say, Abreu, but maybe Abreu gets a home run tonight. Wouldn't shock me at all. Well, he's a lefty versus lefty. Probably be looking for a right-handed batter, so maybe a Tim Anderson. Any case, Minnesota versus Houston. I almost pulled the trigger on this one, Sean. I almost did something I don't like to do, and that is to play a total. I think there's a very good shot that this game goes over 9 runs. And looking at them in the past, 6 out of their last 10 games have gone over 9. And typically when they go over 9, they go way over 9.
Yeah, and now I don't know whether to make that an official play like I was going to or run the other way because you're saying that. But I'm going to take this over 9.
Run down to the river in your van.
Minnesota, I know the other day they were like 63 and 39 versus the over. They've added to that because they've been over the last couple of games. So, they're over 60% at going on the over. And I didn't look up Houston stats, but Houston scores pretty good too. So this should be an easy over. So 9 is not bad at all. There's even higher.
It'll be 1-0 going into the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, but I'm gonna make it an official play. I'll stick to my 30 for now.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Finally, the last game on the schedule tonight, Tuki Toussaint, I think one of my favorite names in all of baseball, versus Lade LeBlanc in St. Louis. Any play for you here, Sean?
No, this is one of those series we've kind of said from the beginning. It's funny when the series switch over, you kind of know which series you're going to stay away from. And this was one of the top ones that there was no way I was playing anything.
Okay, well, I'm going to do something here because when I look at LeBlanc, he's pitched against the Braves quite a few times. He's hit the mound 12 times against them, starting in 4 games. He's 0-4. He's not done very well. Across those games, he's got a 6.20 ERA. He's pitched 28 in 2/3 innings and with a 1.57 whip. So he's got guys on base constantly. And in those 28 innings, he's given up 20 earned runs. So I think you're going to see the Braves score against the Cardinals tonight and score and score and score some more. I was actually considering the run line in this case, but no need to do so now that I've done this 3-team amazing parlay with the home favorites. And I'm going to go ahead and just stick with my standard 25 on the Atlanta Braves to get the best of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And what are the odds you're getting? I see minus 120.
I think the bet, no, it's down to like minus 115. So I'll gladly take minus 115.
Yeah, it's funny you're taking Tucson. Well, I guess he evened out for you a little bit. He had his bad start last start.
He had a horrible one, so he's due for a good one.
Yeah, now his ERA is about 4 something, so it's getting back to his career. So,
well, even if he stays at 4 something tonight, like I said, LeBlanc is over 6 in a bunch of appearances against the Atlanta team. So I expect Atlanta is going to win this game. Hopefully, I'm not texting you 3 pitches into the game. Toussaint doesn't have any velocity. He's going to get hit hard.
Yeah, sometimes, you texted me that pretty early in the Boston-Detroit game. That would have been great to reverse that and take Boston giving up a couple runs because, sometimes it's like that. You can tell when a pitcher has it or not and when it's going to be a long night.
The funny thing is you say that I can tell on Yahoo watching them like where their pitches are on the like the pitch zone if they have it or not, because you could see a guy has command like for the first 4 innings and all of a sudden the pitches are getting farther and farther away from the box and you start to see that slight decline in velocity. Another telltale sign I hate is I almost never see when a pitcher beans a guy accidentally, like not when they're mad at him for something stupid, like flipping the back and doing back twirls all the way down to first base after they hit a home run. But when they just lose control and they hit a guy, almost always a barrage of runs comes afterwards. And I sometimes I wonder, is there a way for me to bet like in game that some runs are going to be scored in this inning? Because I think it's going to happen. Is it like points bet or something like that you can do that with?
No, you can do that on FanDuel or DraftKings too. You just have to find the right spot.
The live thing?
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to be quick too because it moves along. Or like, for example, I have DirecTV and I'm like 20 seconds behind, and that 20 seconds in live betting makes all the difference.
Huge difference. Yeah, I noticed it right away too because you'll see the line shift in the DraftKings account long before you. So I already know when players are on base or something.
Yeah, the worst part on live betting is sometimes I'll see the line change and I go, uh-oh, somebody hit a home run here or something. And then you see it on the TV. So now I've already know what's going to happen.
Yes, that feeling of dread has come over you, like passing a cop on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at 85 miles an hour, where you get that like hot sweat right where the hair meets that forehead.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said about Mize yesterday, Rodriguez got in trouble in the first, and then he started pitching high in the strike zone, but it was strikes, and the Tigers just kept swinging and missing, and you could tell the other way that he really had it. So
they were hacking last night. I mean, either one first pitch, swing and a miss. The guy again, he had I think the first 6 out, 5 of them were strikeouts. I mean, this guy's going to set a Major League Baseball record before.
Yeah, and that was ridiculous because every time I see Rodriguez on the mound, he's giving up runs, and now all of a sudden you're going against him and he's striking everybody out.
Striking Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, Sean. Well, tonight, you and I, in a really quick turnaround, in approximately an hour and 10 minutes, we'll be live over at Horse Racing Radar, our sponsor, with a special guest. Her name is Acacia Courtney. She does analysis for Saratoga Racetrack. And you know what? She was at one time a Miss America contestant. So should be a very fun show. She knows a lot about horse racing. And we hope that we'll get some great insights from her like we did from Maggie Wolfendale last week live from Saratoga, because I think she's actually going to still be at the track when we connect.
Yeah, I don't think she's leaving. I mean, she's on either Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2 right now. The last race is a claiming race, so I guess she don't really go on there, but she's not going anywhere. She's staying at the track, so we'll have that. And then we're going to cover races 8 to 10 on Saturday at Saratoga, and they're all grade 1 races, and they're all great races. Even the one that has...
You got some great... Yeah.
Even the one that has 5 horses, all 5 of those horses
With
are
the
really
Whitney.
good. Yep.
The Whitney, and then you have I don't know what some other long names for sure, but they are all great races. Took me a long time to handicap them, and I feel like I've got some winners under my belt there. Yesterday, I don't know, I kind of blew up. You can also head over to Horse Racing Radar. There's still time. Terry and I put together pick 4s today for Del Mar, which is about to get running right about now. So the pick 4 should start in about 5 races, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from now, right as we go live. Terry and I, one of us are due. So, that's the great gambler fallacy that you're due. Make sure that while you're here, you hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Moneyline Madmen. I promise you soon, very soon, we'll have a social community for sports bettors so we can talk about everything and all learn how to get better at this game. So we can be a self-support group on those days where Casey Mize doesn't have any philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we should just combine our picks and talk it out and start a record that way.
And then we can both be living in a van by the river down by there. For sure. All right, Sean, I'll see you way too soon, my man. Otherwise, we'll see everybody else here in 23 hours and 30 minutes. Until then, may all of your picks, of course, be winners.